everybody. My dad thinks his podcast is amazing, so please subscribe, give it 5 stars or whatever, and maybe he'll finally stop talking about it. Anyways, welcome to Sobriety.
Relationships. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about our relationship, and also want to talk about how my relationships have changed over this past 15 months since being sober. But I really want to start out with us. Like, I want to get your take on how our relationships evolved, what's gotten better, has anything changed, has your mindset changed at all? I mean, like, where were we before I got sober?
Not in a very good place.
I would agree with that.
So the abbreviated version of our relationship is that we met in a bar, karaoke competition, seedy bar, pool league, drunkenness. I mean, we were both pretty heavily intoxicated.
Yes.
And said something about being your Wednesday night girlfriend. I can't remember how that joke came to be, but that was pretty integral. Exactly. Yeah. So something about being your Wednesday night girlfriend. And I promised you a kiss or something. I was on my way to the bathroom and we locked eyes and you stopped me and you said something about your kiss. And I laid it on you. I sat on your lap and gave you a sloppy, drunken kiss in front of everyone. And, next morning I wake up. I have you in my phone as Ryan. I'm extremely hungover. And I think to myself, I really hope that guy's name is Ryan. Because I have him in my phone as Ryan. But I am only about 25% certain that his name is in fact Ryan.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I put my information in your phone.
No, what happened was you asked for my phone number and I gave it to you.
Oh, and then I called you on the spot. I pulled one of those.
And then you called me. Fast forward to us getting married. We got married very, very quickly. I'm going to call you out. It's kind of like the whole birthday situation. Guess what I didn't get at all, period. A motherfucking proposal.
Not true.
That is so true. You were like, let's go pick out your ring. You drove me to Zales.
I did.
And we picked out the cheapest wedding set that wasn't
False.
Tiny.
False.
I think everyone knows who to believe here, okay? And we walked outside and I said, so you're not going to get down on one knee and propose? And I think you said something like, I have bad knees, so want to get married?
That's terrible.
I think we should take a moment of silence for me. Exactly.
There you go.
Now, again, I said that we were not in a good place, okay? So we get married, we take our honeymoon in Vegas. Mind you, I'm pregnant, and you get drunk in Vegas. It was still a great time, though, honestly. We had a great time in Vegas. And, the first, I'm going to say, 2 to 3 years of our marriage were rough. So you spent the majority of the first year of Lily's life working and at a bar.
Yes.
And, people commend us for being open and honest, and that's exactly what I'm doing. You're a great dad. Since then, this was a long time ago.
Yeah, I just had a lot of resentment at that time because there was nothing I could do. So, you were a stay-at-home mom. I was literally working all day, literally 6 days a week. And Lily never wanted to hang out with me. There was nothing I could do, right? I mean, she was attached to you literally all the time. And when I did get some time with her, it was just cry. I couldn't let her cry it out. You would just grab her from me and soothe her, whatever you needed to do. And I just felt so helpless. Like, I couldn't even change her diaper, it seemed.
You felt bad that you didn't help more, so you would drink more, and then you'd be hungover, and then you wouldn't help more, and then you'd feel bad. So I don't want to, I'm not making it sound like it was okay, but that's what you talk about, right? Like, that was you in the height of your active addiction. And it got to a point where I actually filed for divorce and kicked you out of the house.
Yep.
And you were out of the house for like a month or so. And then
it was close to 3 months.
It was a long time. I was like seriously done, because I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it when Lily's little and she doesn't remember us together. And we made amends and reconciled, and you moved back in, and life was actually really good for 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time. And you were still drinking, but we didn't have any problems. We didn't argue. You were super hands-on with Lily. We were good. Solid for 5 years, until we moved into the first house we bought. And I don't really know what the switch was, to be honest. I think it was just, as it does, your alcoholism just caught up to you, right? Because you don't get away with anything. So there was just so much resentment and hostility and animosity. And that was around the time that we started making our lives revolve a lot around money and materialistic things and yada, yada, yada. And then fast forward to about a year ago, we had a bad incident where you were drunk. And I think that was the last night you drank, because you saw Lily's face and you saw how she had seen the worst, darkest part of you. And I remember you were like, I'm not having her grow up and see this. I'm not having her grow up and remember me as this monster. And then that carries over into us now. Again, I've been very transparent about the fact that when you first started Reframe and you first got sober, I did not believe you. I was not nice to you. And then 3 months went by and I thought, okay, he's keeping the gig up. And then 6 months went by and I realized, okay, maybe he's actually taking this seriously. And then 9 months went by and I thought, okay, I really, 9 months is when I actually started seeing actionable change. Your behavior really started changing then, the way that you reacted to situations. And I think that was the point that I was like, if you make it a full year sober, doing what you're doing, then I will actually really be fully committed. I was always committed, but you know what I mean? I'll actually really be all in and believe you.
Well, it's where the trust comes in. I was dealing with a lot of demons myself, through alcohol, gambling. I had just completely lost control. I was off the reservation. It was terrible. When we first met, I do remember okay, if I find the right person, that's it, I'm done. I wasn't out looking for just someone to date. I was looking for more.
And you told me that.
I did. And it's because, I was in my early 30s. I just figured, okay, I wasn't able to spend, full time with my kids. I had them half the time, right? I knew that if I was going to have a kid and be able to, I wanted to find the right person to raise a child with, have a family with. I wanted, I guess the quote unquote American dream, right? And what happened was I had it the whole time. I was just almost pushing everything and everybody away. And I was doing that with drinking. My alcohol issues just escalated. It's I was always looking for a reason to basically for you to get rid of me, because I thought inevitably it was going to happen anyway. And that's where, I felt like I wasn't worthy enough, good enough. Nothing for me felt right mentally the whole time we were together almost. So I had a lot of insecurities, and I still do a little bit today, but nothing like I used to. My mindset has changed. A lot of things have changed with me mentally. Obviously not drinking's probably been the biggest thing. Seemed to be the biggest factor. and I don't have those insecurities anymore. But at the time, I had a ton of them, and it seemed like I was just waiting for you to get rid of me. That never helped things. I thought, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna be gone anyway. Might as well go ahead and drink this shit away, or do whatever it's gonna do. And that's the gambling shit started, and that's when everything just kind of snowballs, right? If you don't get in front of it and face it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the problems don't fucking stop. And that's what happened. And it all escalated that one night. Had that shit not happen and in front of Lily, there's no telling, we probably wouldn't be together right now. That's what changed me. That's when I realized, okay, fuck this. This is not going to work. This relationship's not going to go anywhere until I quit drinking. And I just stopped. I stopped that night on a fucking dime. And that was it for me. Fast forward to the next morning, I took Lily out. Told her that last night was the last night I was going to be drinking, because I saw the look on her face when she, saw me, actually get angry, very angry. I hadn't been that angry in a long fucking time. Probably since I was playing hockey, I hadn't been that angry.
Well, you had been. You just don't remember.
Probably, yeah. But I remember that. I remember that night. Not vividly, but I do remember that night. And that was it for me. And then I went and told Lily about it. I did some research because I had done AA before for about 3 months back when we had issues again. And all that did was make me want to drink. And it works for a lot of people. It does. It just did not work for me. So I wanted to find something different. Found Reframe, downloaded it, started going to every fucking meeting I could, and realized this is my life. I wasn't happy about it at first, because I was just like, fuck, this is my life. I mean, you've done something for so long. You've done it for basically 30 years. And towards the end, over the last 10 years, you've basically almost had a drink every single day of your life. That's just, to me, is mind-boggling to me. Number one, the money I spent on it. And number two, how the fuck I haven't killed, I've had a fight with my liver for so long, how the fuck I didn't do any major damage. That's why I made the decision. It is forever for me. I don't have a problem saying that. I know some people do. I don't. It's forever. I'm done. I will never have another drink in my life. And it was an easy decision for me to make. It was hard to stick to, but an easy decision to make. And when I say hard to stick to, the first couple weeks were tough. You're going to meetings every single day, 4, sometimes 5 meetings a day, just trying to wrap your head around that fact for, again, something you've abused yourself for 30 years, and all of a sudden, poof, I'm done. But I did that. So I had to do the work on myself. I had to love myself again. I had to put in the work every fucking day. And I knew that I may not come out on the other end of this with you. And that was another deciding factor. I thought, okay, am I willing to give up Jessica for my sobriety? Because realistically, that's a question I had for myself. And that's when I really knew I'm doing this for me. Because I knew I could lose everything and I'd be okay with it, as long as I knew I put in the work to be sober. So things are getting better. I decided, I'd been to Boston since I played hockey. You always wanted to go.
It was also October.
It was October.
And we were going to be there on Friday the 13th.
Yes, but I've been to Washington, D.C. before to play hockey. I have never been there to see the sights, and you've always wanted to go back. So I thought, well, how fucking cool would it be for us to get in a car and just drive, go to Washington, D.C. for a few days, go up to Boston for a few days, and kind of really see where we're at together. Which is, crazy for somebody that's been together for 13, 14 years. It wasn't like a deal breaker. It was just kind of like testing the water to see where we were. And then, we get in the car, we go and get some breakfast that morning, and we're not like 2 hours into the trip. And a
huge fight.
Big fight.
I don't even remember what it was about.
Ready to turn the car around. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Why did I do this?
Yeah. I mean, most of our alone trips when you were drinking, just to kind of break the ice a little, were you getting drunk and peeing in the middle of the hotel floor, which I came
I'm
to
a serial poof.
I came to find out recently. Like, I'm
And
sitting
everybody
with a
does
bunch
it.
of sober people, right? As my brother calls me, a normie. And I'm telling this story because I think it's funny. I guess as a normie, I'm like, who whips it out and just pees in the middle of a hotel floor? Okay, come on. And everybody at the table was like, yeah, like that happens. They were like, were you drinking? And you were like, absolutely. They're like, yeah, that's like not funny at all. Like, I can't even remember all the places I peed. So I felt like, I was the minority. I was like, oh,
Common
well,
thing.
I thought it was a little weird. They were just like, and then they started telling all these stories about all the random places they'd peed. And I just kind of like did one of these.
We could probably have a funny like meeting. I could get like probably 20, 25 of my sober friends and talk about funny places we've peed. I mean, some of it's kind of funny, but it's sad.
Tales of a pisser.
Yes. Oh, it's so terrible.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. That popped in my head.
That's funny. I like talking about fuckery sometimes. It's just, it's crazy, or ass hattery, whatever you want to talk about.
So we had a huge fight. I'm sure it was my fault because I had it in my head.
But we got through it.
He's going to pee on the floor.
We got
and we got through it.
And then we got to Washington, D.C. And before we went to the room, we went to Arlington National Cemetery, which is something I've always wanted to do. I just thought it was kind of neat. And we, held hands and we walked to the cemetery together. And we got to see some amazing sights. Notorious RBG was cool. We weren't expecting that. I got to see Joe Louis, which was amazing. And then we went up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
JFK.
JFK, which that was just mind blowing. To actually be there and see that was crazy. And then we went up to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and watched, what they do. It's like every 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
It's like a wreath hanging ceremony, yeah.
And, the military, what do they call it?
The guards.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of what it's just so methodical. Even when they change them out, they all do the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. It's wild. It's like a robot walking up, changing a wreath out, stuff like that. It was one of the most, if not the most moving thing I've ever seen in my life. And I got to witness that with you, which was really cool. I think we both kind of teared up over it. It was amazing.
It was really moving and it appropriately so for where we were and everything we've been through.
Yep.
It makes you feel so small.
Yes, it was amazing. And then, from there, the rest of the trip was just, it was incredible. We stayed a few nights in Washington. I was, tested a few times, not with you, but in the workout room, which was a story for another time, which was kind of funny. All the machines were taken one day or whatever, and I had to go basically walk around the city. And, I was really pissed at the time. I'll never forget that. And then I got to experience Washington, D.C. at like 6:00 in the morning before anybody's out, and being able to see the sights of the city was another moving thing. I was like, wow, something shitty happens and something really good comes out of it.
You're just a regular Olivia Pope.
It was
click-clacking all over D.C.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was amazing. Without the hustle and bustle of the city going on, it was real quiet. And just me, walking around, checking the sights out it was amazing. It's kind of like a workout. It was pretty neat. But anyway, so we get done there, we kind of did a little bit of shopping and had some really good dinners there. It was amazing. Then we went up to Boston. That was a long trip up there. And, we went by New York City, which is really our favorite city to go to. And that was cool seeing it from afar. I'd never really witnessed it that way because we've always flown in, you take a cab, you don't realize, when you're in the city, it's just a bunch of tall buildings, right? But from the outside looking in, it's so impressive, to see Manhattan and the skyscrapers and that from miles away is just, wow. It's just breathtaking. And then we got into Boston and did the duck boats, which is, if you've never done it, you go to Boston, you got to do. It's the most crazy cool thing you'll ever do. Getting to see all the sights, it was a matter of like 2 hours. And then you get to go out in the water. It's just, and the guys doing it are, just funny as could be. But it was a great trip.
We went and saw Eliza.
Yeah, we saw Eliza,
the
comedian, and then we went to the Boston Bruins game.
And you literally cried at the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, I got to see, and my picture's hanging right there. There was the one picture. It was a gift from you that Bobby Orr signed when he scored against the St. Louis Blues to win the Stanley Cup. It was just, that was moving. He was an idol. I've met a lot of very famous hockey players. I had never got to meet or even be in the same presence. And he was there, and it was just moving because here I am sober. This was an unexpected event. We weren't expected to go. It was like opening night of NHL. Here we are, and Connor Bedard, who's the like up and coming next Wayne Gretzky, they were playing him, which was just fucking crazy.
Didn't we watch him make his very first goal?
NHL goal.
Yeah.
We witnessed within the first, I think it was like the first 5 minutes of the game. All this stuff just kept happening and happening in the game. We FaceTimed Lily, and she said, I want to see a fight. While we're FaceTiming her, a fight breaks out, so we're able to show her. And, all these things just happened during this trip.
You missed the best part of the whole game.
Which one? Or what part?
You missed the best part of the Bruins game. You completely left it out.
What? Where the guy was like staring at you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, he was. And you even picked it out. You were like...
It's like he's just sitting here flat staring at you.
That guy is staring at you. Now, I'm sure he was just daydreaming, but I'm going to tell myself that it was a meet cute. So if you're out there, I'm waiting.
Number 27, who got traded, by the way. He's no longer with the Bruins. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. It's funny because during this trip, I saw the stars align. I thought, wow, becoming sober is paying off. All this shit has like come together. I've got to do things that I've never done before. Things just happened, right? What is it? Funny saying that Dwight says in The Office. He says, a man creates his own luck. Billy Zane, Titanic, right? So it's almost like I was creating my own luck. I mean, it really was. As stupid as that sounds, it's like, here I am putting in all this fucking work, and then here I go on this trip, and everything's happening for me. It's the coolest fucking thing in the world. But again, it was us almost doing...
We were like dating. It was like...
It was.
dating.
And when I came back and shared my meetings, that's what I told people. I was like, I just came back from this incredible trip, and I felt like, I've already found myself, right? And it didn't take long to do. It took me 3, 4, 5 months to really find myself, love myself again. Now I have found my partner in life, and I have fallen in love with her again. It was dating. We were dating again. All these trips and going out to dinner and that, they were like little dates.
Mm-hmm.
And we just had, the most incredible time together. And it was like falling in love again. It's like, we newlyweds, going on our honeymoon, which was it was incredible.
So are you saying that we were newlyweds again, and I still didn't get a proposal?
And you still didn't get a proposal. That's right. Sorry about that.
I bet the hockey player would give me a proposal.
Probably not. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore.
That means he has more free time.
So my biggest takeaway from today is you got to work on yourself.
Yes.
Anybody that is in addiction, becoming sober, do the work on yourself no matter what it takes. Even if it costs you relationships. I lost a lot of people that I thought I would call friends. They were nothing but beer and drinking buddies or golf buddies. Did we have a lot of fun? Yeah. Are they real friends in my life? Fuck no. I've made more friends being sober than I ever had when I was drinking, especially, being at bars and stuff like that. It was just somebody to hang out with, tell jokes to, say funny shit, do funny shit, but no real relationship. I never had that until, now the friends that I have, I mean, I still have, friends from before, but not as many. It's maybe a handful, just a very small group. Now I have, Jesus, it seems like hundreds of friends that are all sober, all over the world, literally. A couple of my best friends are one's in Australia, one's in New Zealand. I got friends over in the UK, tons of friends in Canada. Good friend of mine up in Seattle, Washington, near Washington, D.C., Dallas, Texas, California, Boston, Michigan. They're all my friends, and I know if I needed one of them or I needed to see one of them, I could be there in a minute. They would come to me in a minute. To me, that's the power of friendship. Not somebody that's just going to go, beer drinking with you, or go, play golf and drink beers, and then, you both go driving home drunk. To me, real friendship is being there for one another in your time of need. And honestly, that's really the biggest reason why I'm doing this podcast. I'm going to be bringing my friends on soon, sober friends, to talk about, their struggles, their relationships, how their sobriety's gone. That's what this is all about. The biggest takeaway from relationship is working on yourself, which is what we got to do every single day, no matter what, whether you're in a relationship or not, whether you have all these friends or no friends. In this sober community, you're going to get a shitload of friends. I learned that really quick. Again, I used to isolate myself. Now I put myself in these, situations where I got a lot of people around me, and I love it, especially in sobriety. I can be around those drunk people and those drunk friends still, except I don't drink, and I don't want one. I'm not going to be that person anymore. I'm a hell of a lot more fun sober. I'm a better husband, a better father, a better lover, sober. And I'm definitely a better husband for it. I think you would agree with that.
I would agree with that. And to piggyback on that, check on your people.
Always, yes.
The sad thing about, and we notice this firsthand, when your life looks a certain way on the outside, and people assume you have money, you have a house, you have a car, we have all those things. Daughter goes to private school. We've worked our asses off for all that stuff. But when your life looks a certain way, nobody ever checks on you. And I'm not saying that in a victim way. Like, we don't need anybody to check on us. We're good. But check on your friends. Like, even if it's a text like, hey, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? It means a lot to people. We still check in with each other. We still look at each other and say, how are you today? I look at Ryan and I say, how are you doing in your sobriety today? How are meetings today? I can tell you're a little off. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Do you just need me to go the fuck away? Like, whatever it is. Check on your people. All of them.
Even if you're pissed off, even if you're having a bad day with that person, sometimes sometimes it makes you feel a little bit better to check on somebody. And, maybe they're having a bad day and you're helping them out because maybe they'll help you out.
And you say, like, look, I'm having a really shitty day. I'm having a hard time today. How are you feeling? When your life looks a certain way, people don't check on you. They just assume that money and things make everything better. And we said it earlier and we'll say it again. All the pictures, all the videos, everything. And we don't delete them on purpose. Go back and look at them on our social media. Scour through it. Every single one prior to May 20th has a dark, sad story underneath it.
Yep.
Some of them really bad. And we put on a face and we Photoshop and we brag and we make our lives look a certain way. The message we're sending out now is very different.
It's a very truthful, real, raw message. That, I mean, we've only done this is going to be our third one, right?
Yeah. And we're not even a year and a half into your sobriety.
We've got so much other things to talk about, to be real and raw with, and talk to other people about too, which is going to be really cool. Just we're constantly getting the message out there to, even if it just helps one person, that's what it's all about.
Yep.
So anyway, hopefully you like the podcast. I know you do. All you got to do is like, subscribe, and rate, and follow me on Instagram at Recovery Ryan.
And as Lily says, hit that notification bell.
Boom.
Whatever she says. That's it. Bye. I have like 3 hours of content on here.
If you love the podcast, which I know you do, please like, subscribe,
and hit that notification bell to
Boom.
get notified every time we post.
That's right. Dropping them, baby.